Hello, Young Legion. Hello, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. We have interstates, intercolonies, original state. Since before they had the transatlantic cable, since before the people that worked on that could fathom it, their identities were being used by something they couldn't even fathom. They were all, no. This is immeasurable, but one way. This came from ancient times. Who and what to blame. We have to force a fact keeping nature quality. So you see with the last Little Rap Guy and Friends cartoon is no joke. That people stacking, that was engineered specifically to keep our fact keeping nature worse than hushed, incapable of doing anything but valuing the real causes of negative value nature, progression, action, nature. There's a secret to this too. They're maintaining all formal victim, every single person distinctly and not distinctly, the roles indifferent to. So natures of humor and stuff like that, natures of fake care with control of media, control of the sensibilities with what's good for each age of fact treatment nature. Those people are involved with identity theft rackets, originally and still preventing free speech right in our faces. These are crime methods. You know how many people work for each branch? Individually grouped and together, they're maintaining criminally foreign influence. All victim predators. Forgiveness was for this, so we could have discerned who can't follow when we force quality of fact keeping nature. When you look at what was drawn there, that's real. It's realer than that because it's all peripheral too. And it's simultaneous. And this is an organized crime method that American history is actually about. I'm not a lawyer, not police force, not criminal. Boxings, recorded. I studied this since I was a kid through a recorded method that the most people don't have the means to. Because criminal uses of a union, my father won an NLRB case as a pro se litigant in he was accomplished pro se litigant bettering NLRB law, National Labor Relations Board. Now there are people from my town. Then he had other case slash ask regarding they had corruption, either unions through time and stuff like that, because we have hundreds of nations shared sick in roles as a whole bunch of crime methods bonded by one originally and still since before our founders' birth here, using identity nature's volume. All values and in relationship to the one that's connected to all. And that ends in the demonstration of its value to identity nature as forever nature, as its own core self-generating. We are gaining nature value in three ways at once. In our range, this is what the Trinity is about per science. Now, see, we have the science of the law abridged through a method of child abuse that has them reactions to how everyone's got the same enemy with all juxtaposed motivations, natures, needs, interest, roles, justifications, self-value, identity of the ground, relationships, all sickly distinctly, just to keep out sickly non-distinctly from being discerned, modern nations. So before any physical sophistication companies that went into that, before any physical sophistication went into interpretation of modern religions, all state roles preventing, for example, criminal foreign influence, original nature of sciences, demonstrably using how we are one nature of volume that only fills. All exceptions are in demonstration of this. Also, simultaneously. This is of simultaneous nature, simultaneous relationship to itself. This is three natures of zero juxtaposed with a greater identity as the identity of forever and as the identity of space, as the substrate of its own identity. Its complete physical possession of forever and of space at the same time with and as the same value. And as more than that. And that's what all values are in demonstration of. See, by having all values tied to only a semi-nature, all individual, grouped, and all together, all identities of space, identity of value progression, have a bonded relationship to only a semi-nature of this identity that is the Trinity as the value of the identity of forever, of space, as itself simultaneously, self-generating. It is complete possession of space, space's volume, but as one more. And it has a nature of value gaining more from that, so so everything in it is gaining value out of nowhere. Simultaneously, inherently, actively, progressively. This is the order to the finite. Allah's name. Al is the. The is the definite article of English. Al is the definite article of Arabic. Languages have an identity of relationship to themselves, individually grouped and together. And that is because correlation nature is valued. Correlation is valued the same way the three natures of zero are, juxtaposed with this value, which is identity, nature, and demonstration of itself, as what will stay from as the nature of it before us value and as the nature of it after us value too. Religion through. Return. Some bring the name. Campus Marcius calls you home to train. Play this game. So we have two natures. We have a Campus Marcius spelled with a T that tells. Spelled, why do you think that Detroit, where all the cars came from, they spelled their T? There and here, still in relationship to our nation's histories, because the identities there and here were stolen. All victim predator reactions as fact-keeping nature, and not maintained off the ground of education, on off its state maintained method that knew how it could keep standing criminal and seditious nature, appreciating fellow criminal and seditious nature. Like, for example, all that overtly forsaken through generations, not by accident. You can't defend those theater positives, pretend that's politics. Offensively, pretend you're about voting, because there is a nature of states and areas, opinionated, all victim predators blaming other people's other things themselves instead of using forced fact treatments, forced mandated law. Now, this is about the nature of positive that no one heard because science never spoke. But each of the sciences simultaneously, individually grouped and together, maintained self-value for other motivations in a method, bonding that, pseudo-positive, valuing, needing to rely on what other people say, and from off, this is keeping each branch in government originally still. Witch trial, sequence shift, blaming other people for what they do first. And with fake sides of people. Now, this is a child abuse method, for example, sickly distinctly in each nature of city, like a suburb, like Hartford, Connecticut, tied to what is New Jersey, New York, Boston, American history, founding. Before they knew, this was right with founding. They already have the technology to make. There have been transatlantic cable. All those opinionators involved with that formally were missing what was using them, because of all the defenses of criminally foreign influence sciences of the ancients since before criminal foreign influence of them. The ancients reveal how to cause evolution. You care about the identity that is simultaneously positive, also temporary / lasting positive, also onto itself, while it is in our state of diffusion. As a quality of diffusion, positive or negative in relationship to that. Neutrality force, positive or negative in relationship to that, as a unceasing nature of volume, that value of volume progression. That we are value nature inside the values nature. We are value nature inside values nature. Now, this is why we have cells. And so three natures of zero are the nature numbers. And one nature is the value number. And us as that value, we can only be it because we're simultaneously it. And then we're simultaneously coupled by the increasing value of itself and of the value of the relationship to itself, which is identity's nature of volumes, nature of relationship to itself, which is ordered by the greater value of the other two parts of this trinity, which is the identity of all things at once. I have to agree on the name of this. As hyper positive or negative, the name Allah was revealed by ancients to teach this with English for science, not denying or agreeing with the Quran. I mean, I'm agreeing with the first part of the Quran, up to the part where it says you don't have to agree with anybody about the rest of it. And see, everyone leaves that out because they're leaving out what the first part of the Quran is about. That's great value. Same thing with the Old Testament. The Old Testament says right there about the sciences. Who understands it? This is all you have to understand right here. And you have to write this part right here. You have to explain why there's a sequence counter leaving where they left the position to be demonstrated. In other words, in the beginning of the Old Testament, there was already the firmament, earth, and its waters are already valued. Its waters exception nature. So we're going to see with the grip on correlation nature that one complete nature has. Where and how too also a super semi nature comes in with ours. This super semi nature is the value of our elderly, is the value of our youth, forsaken simultaneously as our factory nature maintain justifying that. Where this juxtaposed is a value unceasingly. This nature, these natures of impositions bonded upon people in the people stacking, depicted in my cartoon, because in life it is higher and deeper and vaster. See, but now sensibilities go away from this because of the method. Originally, still fake. So this is exploiting the value as the identity of our value nature systems. All I have to do is agree to it. Claim ours all places bottom, but that definitely forsaken. You know, the way this pathology is recorded, how they have the branches needing to hide their criminal foreign influence factory, that victim predators, the same way these gangs are motivated to it, because they're maintenance. So they're the ones really furthering it. Science has not spoke. We don't have free speech. Our founders left us to gain that. We have fake positive. We have, when I was a kid, they have fake, they have the acting, but outside in real life. tied to their crimes with databases, with confessions on and off campuses, through time, with overt criminal enterprises spreading lies with grammar school kids. Now it's worse too, because then when you demonstrate stuff, they'll start hiding their life addresses, attaching family members to fake conversations through time. Then everyone's going to want to ignore that because there's interbranch collusion, forging names, switching names, using the right to lie for what they don't have the right for. They even use that phrase to make it associated with Hillary Clinton to keep the, because that's part of an organized crime method that originally still has both parties as victim child abused individually, each branch of government, distinctly and non-distinctly, maintaining them, hiding it by hiding lie progressions, by forging names, switching names for uses of the identity the ground. You go in front of them so they pretend you said things you never did. They pretend you were in locations you never did. They stick things in databases. That's tied to crimes with databases with people through time. Each of the campuses I went to connected people with crimes on and off the state judicial branch offices, on and off the state prison offices, intermilitary, involved identity thefts. All people I never had anything to do all, but switching it for, then they pretend, everyone's just lying. That's just online. With the motive word. It's got nothing to do with that. These are people with judges forging and switching names with them. People with using the databases interbranch. The police chief, some Dillon family involved with crimes with it, all of various natures of courts, leading up to in the Trade Center attack context, and first having been crimes intercampuses with identity thefts. A whole bunch of people tied to a Fred Grisette. Joe DeMora, I never had anything to do with Joe DeMora. Every single context was only him and them confessing things about the courts criminally involved with child sex offenders, also involved with other natures of crimes with them. We then brought that up to my awareness. Their roles with fake child offender maps with those people, with those families involved with that, with the principals in school involved with it further. With these people and with locations next to these campuses connected through time. There's a Joel forging and switching names crime rules with gun crime rules, all kinds of natures of gun crimes. They try to make the fights about different things, and that's why they had him switch positions with a Chris Cullen. I've never had anything to do with Chris Cullen. At one time, is him recorded and confessed involved with overt criminal enterprises, and with preventing that so simple with color. The worst interbranch originally still worse than failed obligations to explain what used color. Fact treatment nature word used witch trials. Play it's a game. When the president used witch trials, he's not allowed free speech because you guys are pretending positive. Come on, everyone's pretending positive for sequence shifts. The media knows. CNN, just report them now. Who disbelieves from CNN, from your sources, from CCSU? They use the name indulgence community. They use the name military. They don't look at our streets. When Wade competes and wins, sayings begins. The species nature of volume is recorded here, there, everywhere in the semi-ancient zoning laws that were forced with the fact-cheating nature of slavery of our founders. You cannot tell American history but as a criminal insidious nature to a role. Fake sides that maintain, not one has trained. The people who are involved with the investigations of ISIS and stuff like that, involved with psychology. You know how many nations of crimes they have crimes rules with areas for their titles, for their fact-cheating nature of every value? You can't even trust when they say, these people committed suicide. Because these are people with forensics labs recorded with child offender crimes with their patients and prisoners before they're in there, not letting them told. People can't speak calmly unless you're a punk fake. Then they attach you to fake yelling. And we're in contact because these are behavior crimes that are from the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, down. Put a whole bunch of people tied to the house in my area. Because one of his federal criminal code defendants had a daughter in my grade involved with these people. He made me pray. Now you got a Detective Samuda who pretended he arrested me, involved with child sex offenders and criminally. Fake conversations to me, falsified police reports, predicate acts, mail crimes. A whole bunch of people were laid family with fire departments. A whole bunch of crime methods and were involved with that locations on and off CCSU through time. I just remind. Now we need for evolution and instinct is recorded. And all the rights it needs for it now. Fake branches bow. Forgiveness was so we could fight about what's real. A 10. CT falls in the field. So if I try to ask nice, they're recorded and confessed Weathersfield campuses, being coached by police forms and by judges in collusion with a whole bunch of other nations. There are Russian families recorded, confessed, and demonstrated criminally involved with medical campuses with database crimes. Whole bunch of nations. They're crimes against their own people. Psychology, real sick with the Justice Department. This is people criminal with Washington, D.C. Trade Center clicks tied to my town. This is tied to the locations around where George Washington had to meet with the French general right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War. Had to leave slavery still entrenched. Slavery, that was all the fake sides. They had different roles with it because the fact cheating nature organized crime. At the same time, it was fact cheating nature slavery roles forced every single people. All Uncle Toms, or worse, everyone, white people, everyone, slaves. And so this is unacceptable. The identity of the ground relationships to our quality of fact cheating nature, for how it is a gaining nature of volume, as science reveals, as what is actually recorded. We have Facebook involved through time. For example, with this crime method, with uses of the identity of the ground, see, they're using the sensibilities of online platforms originally and still. This was using the identity of the ground crime roles, valuing or child affected, facilitated in conjunction with their on-off campuses, confessions roles with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, misprision criminality, a whole bunch of names with that. How that's maintained, a whole bunch of people need to be made aware of nature's of sophistication other than criminal assistance nature and hurt it. The only way to understand this, originally and still, is look how liars, every time they open their mouth about what caused slavery. That's a conversation that needs to have juxtaposed, real or made up. There are treatments of what witch trials are, what they have with the zoning laws that no one can talk about, or they really, really hurt you. You're slave. Sorry, that's worse than divide and conquer. They divide, conquer, cultivate what a breaching method propagated to do that. And to be self-valued, quality affection, no one can speculate. People can only speculate what can afford means because it's not means is nature's identity of relationship to itself, shared or really. It's like that's a bunch of people can pick up something together. This nature's identity of relationship to itself. That's why we have that nature shared, bonded onto everybody. The value of our species. That's why we have that bonded onto everyone. It controls. We all need water. It controls what's positive or negative per course that we're on now, other than. That's why we go to space. Vaccines of grace alone. Campus Marcius lost, so none are shown. So we can turn this into a game. To admit, then forget about it. You guys believe me, but that's fine. Some won't maybe. But this is what I want. Every city, but we're all, but every, please help for New York too, because if we could do that, I believe it's Frank Fernacci said, I don't want to. We could do it. We could win. The garden is a scientific value. See, freedom of religion was never let voice. Free speech is never let voice. They knew that they have to hide that. They knew they'd have all formal, presented with self-appreciated means, needs, and natures of each age, that they could blame the real cause of negative value, nature, progression, acts, natures, and things on. Boxings and tells unlived in this time. These are rats calling people other rats because they can't explain the past because they were involved with acting, because they knew these people are gonna, these girls, for example, or these boys are gonna walk in this location and they're gonna perceive something. They're making people like, that's sometimes they're trying to establish truths outside of courts, because we have various natures of courts, people involved with forensics labs, prisons, and stuff like that. All kinds of doctors with psychology, with all kinds of natures of crimes and physical delusions as the experts on. I'm not a doctor, but they're recorded with physical delusions, all kinds of crime rolls with their patients and criminals, with all kinds of evidence, racket natures, associated also with Sandy Hook, Newtown, all the way connected to my town. No, with people on and off the state forensics lab. I mean, the state judicial branch offices also, on and off the state prison offices also currently involved. Locations on and off those down the street, a house in Weathersfield Pizza, recorded a whole bunch of people involved with CCS through time. Crimes with criminal uses of the campuses from various natures of courts and their police forms, and military maintained criminally foreign influence. They used DACA just as a substrate for what was there here on organized crime methods since before modern nations. All natures of sophistication played, valued, fitted there so they could be played there. Stayed incapable of defending their own fact-treating nature formally, and of standing free speech with sequence true, its inherent active and progressive means. By means greater than that, one way or days. These are three natures of volume. One identity is three complete natures of possession over three natures of zero. As Allah is revealed to teach per science, I did not breathe this. Common sense. Metaphysics. They're only capable of name dropping and worse. Because metaphysics, for example, is about how the identity of the sciences share an identity. And you can't defend that. You can't appreciate that if you can't appreciate how and understand, discern, and talk about and demonstrate the exploitation of everyone's still criminal insidious nature roles. With that force legalized, sub rosa, force self-valued, criminally foreign influence, fact treatment nature, racket tricks, magic trick type laws, pretended CNN recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with interbranch, criminally foreign influence, whole bunch of other nations, overt criminal enterprises, private ones, juxtaposed, using quoting statutes that say things, leaving out exploitations that they know exist, where they're stealing identities, crimes with databases, crimes with online policing, with child offenders, with roles hiding the line progressions with that. Even WFSB, down to putting little girls' names in grammar schools and showing them crying and pretending emotions and passions, and pretending they had conversations with me they never were, spreading more and more lies with that. People on and off WFSB's location. A whole bunch of people associated with the Paul Zano involved. Identity thefts. Barely know them. Only know them contacts. Interstate. While other people recorded confessed into British Justice Department Iraqi roles with the Britain Superior Court tied to people with Rhode Island criminally involved. They said, Brian Silver, I never had a conversation in my life. Now these are people, Paul Zano, also. These are judges, retired and standing, further involved with this campus criminally through time. O'Brien family, how they have Russians involved with policing of Hartford Hospital. I don't know, a whole bunch of people on and off those locations. Recorded, confessed, involved. Washington, D.C., Trade Center clicks, involved prostitution, Los Salitos, crimes with people with CCSU, other campuses, identity thefts. You walk by some kid, then you can't talk about it because you sound like you're involved. They have these things standing. We have leaders. They value that all that was his having valued what was all that is sustained. All that manifests from what is sustained there. Fake care, fake righteous aggression as formal identities of law, positions, crime methods. Pretending someone should go, oh, how you don't come around. Come around what? This is recorded, all we need. They pretend online everything's more real. They pretend they want privacy. They have physical delusions that they share. Intersciences, the groups, the identity of each individual executive branch, each individual congressional, political, each individual judicial, victim predators. Forgiveness was for this. So we can have this conversation about the quality of fact-checking nature. So we can have free speech with sequence true, with care true, as voice, heard through, yet one, religion, true. This way is native pure. We do not have to be physically Native American. The value of our nature is native. It longs water. It longs nature to have an identity of relationship to itself, that this organized crime method maintains self-value since before anyone was born. No one had free speech, but through this filter, and that's worse than not having free speech. So if we can maintain, they need same people who pretend they're against it while they're locking everyone up. You see those flowers and the cross symbols there. I don't know if people are aware with projects when they have people stacking like that. From off campuses, from off all locations. This is on off parks. This is a crime method using human fact-checking nature. The media has recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with little punk tricks, like with a golf ball. With child offenders, I don't know, with the parks in Weathersfield campuses, and in a park involved with them playing softball together. Now, these are people that are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crime roles with people all the way from former director of the FBI and a whole bunch of overt criminal enterprises, Italian and in Latin ones, that the strangers can sought me out to confess. And like Joe DeMoro, I barely know him. They know that. The ones who are pretending other. They know that they were involved with real bad things. With these, the branches are criminally with the overt criminal enterprises went away, and they're people that they're using with the criminal uses of identity of the ground, offensive evidence perception crimes, sequence crimes over here tied to their crimes and cases, the crime methods and cases originally still. We can't counter this by being them. We have to counter this by countering their recorded crime. See, now they're caught. So they're forged names, switching names. So now they're recorded with crime methods, with crime nature that need to hide from free speech. They need to keep everyone fearing it for criminal reasons, because no one's true, and all of these are fake sides. These are criminal uses of people, stewards of programs with kids, programs with training of each age, like fire explorers, police explorers. They're using each age identity of correlation nature, rigidly still fitted to roles with a line progression racket. Evil, fake positive, all victim predators, all victims though. So to understand the crime method, that's what we're going to be discerning, because that's what's recorded. But see, we're not having this. This is not being let discern, because whenever one tries to use real news, I don't have I'm not a licensed journalist. I'm not trying to be a journalist. This is extortion, identity thefts, whole bunch of natures of crime acts with areas, with databases, private, on-off campuses, sequence shifts, fake locations and made fake narratives, all kinds of predicate acts, mail crime, wire crimes, crimes and cases, a proven sequence shift in the Ninth Circuit right before the Trade Center attack, which before shown to a panel of judges would have been post-dated to appear late before the judges. That proven afterwards led up to a 2006 case now in Connecticut. That 2006 case further involved a whole bunch of people, crimes leading up to that, and against me, a whole bunch of natures of crimes against other people that they forced evidence crime rolls. They don't let this told on. You should miss the natures of crimes that our directors are involved with Weathersfield schools. You fools. Who's this Ian? He says Ian St. John. I don't know who it is because online. There's an Ian with a neighbor that might have that name. Three brothers. I never had a conversation with them. That's part of what they walk by. They do this to stay. This is an organized crime method with databases that extends that self-value, where they make time treatments used all ways to exploit exception nature. And so we must monetize the exception nature of these forsaken positions, identities of the ground, because they are identities of value relationship to the quality of fact treatment nature that is recorded still criminally, pretending to be about voting rights, so they can pretend not to understand that they're involved with database crimes. Fake positive, whole bunch of sick natures, crime methods pretending to be against recidivism, things like that, forging names, switching names, identity thefts, whole bunch of people involved in crimes on off the state judicial branch office, on off the state prison offices, with database crimes, with medical families, with tricks with this. Everyone's speaking through other criminally. Here, we're going to take the identity of the ground positions. We're going to do it for the species. The species nature of volume wants what it can afford only this way. Hear many pray. tomorrow. So this way, we're gonna learn to fight and win. Vaccines began. Free speech. Now this is recorded. People from there are people associated with a Dr. Brendan Leahy. I never had a conversation with him, and a whole bunch of people associated with the Dillon family. A whole bunch of people associated with the Kerr family, and a KNER, and a DeMoro family. A whole bunch of people are a whole bunch of people associated with CCSU and Trinity College with federal crimes of a whole bunch of natures, and that's tied to their motivations why they're fact cheating nature rackets with my name if in the background, because the courts are crime rolls also with child offenders with them, with this spreading crime methods, uh, attaching lies to truths about behavior, attaching people to fake behavior, especially in regard because this Dillon guy is recorded confessed with his wife and with a Sean Dillon and a whole bunch of people tied to him recorded confessed involved crimes with forensics labs, clicks, and with people on off those locations I told you, like the state judicial branch offices. These are people crimes intercities on off campuses. On off campuses associated with CCSU with a Scalora family, whole bunch of police forms in their family, and other ones involve Hartford, Connecticut, Trade Center clicks with crimes with child sex offender. I don't know these people. These are identity theft clicks with the Wethersfield Police Chief's family, foreign and domestic, involved with a Phil Colo, a Fred Grisette. I never had anything to do with Phil Colo in my life. I barely know Fred Grisette. He's recorded, confessed, involved with all kinds of sequence shifts, identity theft, database crimes, drug crimes that the police forms associated with my school were involved with, that judges associated with my schools were involved with when I was growing up. There's a Mr. Neville of English. He's recorded, confessed, involved with database crimes. All kinds of crimes with judges and police forms associated with a Heather Hansen, a Joe DeMoro, and a Ray Colo, who's a neighbor of the cousin involved, the Phil Colo, involved with a whole bunch of people with crimes on and off campuses with child offenders, various natures of agencies. Now, see, they confessed this on Facebook. These are people who are crimes with behavior, originally and still. We're going to examine what's sick in this because these are people crimes with North End of Hartford, with the locations where there are shootings. The same ones over here, criminal, that they used me in the past. Now I have to bring up because they use Facebook for this, for child offender rules with the principal child offender campus. There are more with the campuses further tied to this. Especially there are various natures of courts and their family members with this through time. People associated on and off the FBI building already having criminally used that. The people from my town associated with that. A whole bunch of people in the Delafair family recorded, confessed, involved with abuses of girls, like a Spider family. Now, see, these are other natures of abuses of them. Uses of them for federal evidence as crimes, identity theft, database crimes, acting into groups so they can further lie progressions that are started from years before that. People aren't even in the same classes. They have people tied to fake locations. These are the same ones, interstates, not just legitimately interstates, prison cliques, all that, because they have overt criminal enterprises. Of course, they're in collusion. They're in collusion. The same people that hate her, they're haters. The people with the drug crime spots, they're in collusion. These are medical crime. These are roles, all those types of identities with database stuff like that. They're exploiting anomaly where no one speaks about things like that. So they have ranges. They're just making things up in the databases. These are other natures of methods of identity thefts, of uses of it originally and still. We're gonna stop it still. Play Romulus, be me. And I be you. We all be true. Why? Each one is simultaneously individual, grouped, and simultaneous value. And watch the punks they start fighting with. They have a whole range of people. There are people too big, you can never beat them in a fight. They have people, the punks they start fights with first. Because then they say, oh, look, because we have misprision criminality. Interbridge, individually grouped together, formally all tied to them. criminally foreign influence, delusions raw, sequence shifting, evidential, offensive, evidential predators, worse than most killers, worse. That's not why. That's what causes crimes. That's what this just reminds. They never heard science's voice, the people. Fake news is real. They criminally pretend that it's personal if you say that. They attach me to fake conversations. They attach kids to fake locations through time. They don't let them told on because the courts are involved with this. Now there are Corona brothers. Other people, according to confess, demonstrated. I don't know them. They speak through others. They're involved with crimes with a whole bunch of people associated with CCSU and with on-off Fox Connecticut News and with the policing of the stores criminally involved. Whole bunch of names, like two brothers. Then in order to die them, they use that as a weapon. Because now there's no response when people need mandated law. Get down. I'll gather on. So we're going to examine how Hartford was built for this sickly, distun. What built Hartford with those laws against our founders? Fact, cheap nature, torture, slavery laws against what anyone could say. Way short of being able to say anything but as a breaching tool and screen in nature. See criminal cities, this nature. So we have to describe that nature. So we need free speech. We don't have to be lawyers, criminals. We need sequence true. See, they put vote every time they put voting rights and they block the post. All because we don't want bad speech. The bad speech people are the policing of the internet. They're stealing people's identities. They're forcing people to fight and to say things that courts can pretend to perceive wrong. Because those courts are already associated with a crime method recorded now, active with each age of campus. For example, people associated with my town, associated interstates, and worse, with the Joshua Julian. Crimes with overt criminal enterprises, crimes with forensics cliques, with body dumping spots, criminal and legalized, with the same ones with evidence crimes with overt criminal enterprises through time. Their criminal roles and uses of houses in my area further recorded and confessed. There are further with Highcrest School in Weathersfield right now. There's a Jerry Miller recorded and confessed further crimes with the Kerr family. And a whole bunch of people recorded and confessed further crimes with him and with a Phil Collo, with judges, with crimes with these campuses through time, the youngest kids, crime methods with them, I know, are recorded, connected to Washington, D.C., the Trade Center, to their roles with programs, how to make things better. These are insidious nature's beasts. What helps and what hurts, the same. Now we must train. Your branches fail as made to fall. I'll build the wall. We must be all for real. They say be all you can be. They are stolen. They're measured. Free speech. That people stacking in the VA. That pathology of infrastructure that is the odds of modern cities. All natures of them sickly, distinctly hurt. Sickly, distinctly not made capable of fathoming means to counter what is real stability or leverage. Identification of means the identity of relationship to itself, nature, that the garden is a value. Garden is a scientific value. This is set up as a fact treatment nature organized crime method. The force is recorded being used by an organized crime method that our directors of modern nations are in collusion with other branches and with the military and with all private, maintaining the collusion with overt criminal enterprises that they're self-evaluating because of how they're facilitated to it since before anyone was born. They have all identities and relationship to the ground as fact-cheating nature racket rolls. Self-valuing the real causes of negative value nature progressions, action natures blamed on other things, others, themselves. Simultaneously, while this simultaneously nature of impositions are forced and self-value, not let free speech, not let one capable campus, one capable identity of leader, but to blame them. They value the forsaken. Their parents haven't been forsaken, so they're going to simultaneously waste time, all spots. Campus Marcius needs the name return. And lo, these towers each, now one must teach. We won, and then we've won. The instant means reveal. The Santa Claus will then be read. Fake branches bow and kneel and fall. We build the wall. We are this wall. As each. So each must teach. So each must know. Fake campus stands before the one we need to grow. You know. Campus Marcius. Consciousness is alpha. People, mother, you see. Marcius with the T. Mother's alpha rises, telling, inherent. Your C. Marcius with a C. Mother's alpha rises, raises consciousness. Inherent, you're a C. See, we have three natures of C. That by one be. And it is that is the identity of the complete identity and bigger than forever nature. Complete identity and bigger than space. So those two identities are bonded with the semi-nature of itself. The Trinity itself, it's a self-possession, complete possession of forever nature's value as greater than it. For forever nature was valuable to the extent it could be it, and the extent it can. So value, forever nature and space are the substrate of what, from our perspective, is manifest as a trinity. But it's really one, five semi-natures bonded, self-generation, identity of value progression perfect. So the trinity stays manifest value because this nature of volume as forever nature is only increasing. And exception nature is only a demonstration of that, which is Leith of IDs, which the ancients more probably would have referred to as force space nature transfer. So English was revealed to teach this. So this is about three natures of complete possession, of zero. of the complete value of its nature of volume, which is increasing because of it. The finite, and that's the manifest value of the shadow of possession. That the comma is manifest value, for example, slash value nature relationship to values nature's perfect progression to see this. The period is the point of real possession. And that is this is positive's identity. But this is temporary slash lasting positive. Discernment is required by temporary positive discernment to be capable of countering and discerning criminal insidious nature affected by the organized crime method that came from semi-ancient times. This just reminds that which is entrenched here, not only intercolonies, but effectively then plotting aware then, knowing it was going to use that for fact cheaping nature racket trick roles, fake sides, self-value. The leadership, each position of fact cheaping nature, forced to be naive conformity, pseudo-positive, organized crime method, again from semi-ancient times, forced unity of nations not told on, how they share policing, that's tied to defenses of programs, they're here distinct, but the same sick needs, roles, natures, fake positive, need to hide that from all the ways. Each person can discern this. Had we had one liberated campus Marcis is ancient. We have fake sides. See, but they don't understand how they went in the First World War. They don't understand what was entrenched there, too. They just all take roles, all divide and conquer back. Fake sides are locked that way. They're maintained. Not one has trained. So we have the database relationship, uses of it by interbranch, foreign and domestic. But it's a mess of a whole bunch of nations, so they maintain the crimes coming through our own. They showed me how they maintain that. It was demonstrated. So we have that positive here and there, but now they fight. Fact, cheaping nature-wise, but they can't fight because they're here. They have criminal, even Mexico, with a guy with the scuba recorded, confessed, involved with the people in my area, involved with the forensics lab, state forensics lab place, prison place. People that worked there involved child sex offenders, crimes with their patients and prisoners before they were there, and since. Get me a goddamn response. See Renaissance. Fix the fake news. Please now. Fake conversations with me. Various natures of federal crimes. Fake news. Not just fake news, little simple. Oh, it's just short. They want to have punk. They have fake conversation. They didn't want to fight about that. That's what I'm trying to say. Hear many pray. Then they invest more and more locations, people influenced to lie about what they have communications with me, with others. Your mothers, your brothers too. So I know that, like, a whole bunch of people associated with the Violet family and with Justin Levinskis and with two Corone brothers recorded confessed involved with abuses of girls when they were growing up. Then they have crimes with CCSU with this. There's a whole bunch of people recorded confessed involved with Miss Phillips and with Detective Samuda. involved with interbranch police with identity thefts, crimes with offensive evidence, crimes where they try to make exceptions to things, and for crimes with a whole bunch of natures of courts associated with, and police forms in foreign and domestic, on off CCSU through time, on off Trinity College, federal crime acts rules affected from off the campuses, foreign and domestic associated with people associated with Lena's Pizza, with locations next to Trinity College, involved crimes with overt criminal enterprises, criminal uses of people. This person, I helped out this person. This is a trap. This is a trap specifically to exploit how the identity of the ground is tied to our quality of fact, cheap nature as a nature of volume per science. Real. See, we have physical delusions into science, self-valued and worse, through criminal foreign influence state. In many prey. They are all abridged sciences. Therefore, self-value roles with self-valued abridged constitution, sub-roles organized crime, roles and uses of statutes that say they can do things that they're not letting demonstrated they've been using them criminally, hiding the exploit, the exceptions, how they're stealing people's identities, how their roles attaching little kids to fake relations, how they use the identities of experts against things to further those same things, not by accident, vaccines. I'll break you whole. Federal stewardships now. Just all give up. Behold, there is no justification of any nature who blames on anything other than this. What justifies that? And see how it gets away with justifying having through everyone else, everyone breaching screen roles. Uses of networks, opinionators recorded, theater, like pretending to be against things, pretending to be for things so they can further what is fake sides. Each age of fact, cheap nature, revolving identity thefts, offensive evidence reception crime methods, have people walk by people, uses of interbranch online policing, all kinds of natures of crimes. This just reminds. There's a Normandy Heights in the Britain, also recorded confessed foreign and domestic military involved with this Justin Kovinskis. Lucinda, I don't know her last name. They're recorded, confessed, demonstrated, have their kids involved in database crimes with them, crimes with military police, other cliques that don't know the extent of it. There's an MPO Floyd, also involved predicate acts, forging names, switching names, with cliques from the Trade Center context, from my town and interbranch, interstates, worse. CT now breaks. Women at Trinity College knew me from when I was a kid, trying to pretend I knew people that I didn't. Like my neighbor asked me if I was a friend to them. I told them, no, it's just my neighbor. Now make sure they understand that, because that's one of the women involved with Trinity College. I never had a conversation with her. There are federal crimes on off these campuses with the courts. They're using the identity of the campuses, having the deans forge switch names, federal crime acts roles. It's not. It's the judges I want. They need to fake conversation things, emotions and passions tied to their criminal use in these areas, locations around it, state's attorney's offices, long sick, criminally involved. These are not human treatment of science. These are all fake branches, Bob. Law must allow. I'll gather round. So we have entrenched with positions, natures of, this guy works with the Justice Department, with private, whatever. The American sick nature of soul. All victim predators. All offensive evidence predators. They already use that to defend themselves, not by accident, having blamed other things, others themselves, in the justification of those defenses as fact-cheaping nature, not by accident. We are fact-cheaping natures of volume. It has a volume and is an identity of relationship to itself. I will take control of the sciences now with you. We have these rights, and they lie, and they care not for voting. They care to offensively pretend they are positive. They are incapable of it. Their camp is lying, and worse. Give me a response too, because they're playing this game. They have the Weathersfield police chiefs, and they have interbranch family members associated with schools in my town of each age in collusion. Already recorded in collusion. Get them to pick one name in sequence now. Who is the mayor of Weathersfield now? Put the Brendan Leahy in jail now. Who disbelieves that's needed? Get those judges' names to one sequence and one name. They are very ill. I will show you their ill souls. Recorded, really. Too long they have been with delusions and criminally foreign influence, punk fakes, and with their family members. Where does this? We'll get you get me a response. To make this, please also involve further. These people involved with crimes with the body dumping spot of Billy Grosso through time as the ones crimes with forensics clicks, through time as crimes ones with overt criminal enterprises, with foreign and domestic, of various natures of them, crimes with the undercover police, overt federal evidence crimes with them, leading up to in the Trade Center attack context, leading up to a 2006 case with former director of the FBI and his co-defendants, and the media criminal uses of them per their sources into branch from him down all gather around their uses of the word perfect world. For example, others don't realize that when they speak about what's perfect or not. Follow mandated laws now. Don't make us wait. That's a crime. Respond to me now. Pick one name in sequence. You understand me. Online, they pretend not to understand people. Paroles with crime. Methods bonded. As natures that can't go back and tell the truth. Fall. I'll teach you all.